How do you feel like a team can be more successful in that regard, getting you more shots, getting more touches?
Look, I'm not the guy. I'm not the guy that will yell and cast his teammate out and demand the ball. I've never done that in my career, but I feel like I've played with teammates that kind of understand, the gravity that I can cause for our team and how I can create for my teammates and for myself, and how I can help the team be more successful. But maybe for some reason, like, I don't understand, maybe because we're young, maybe because we're not playing well, maybe because guys think it's their turn.
The Giannis situation in Milwaukee has officially hit the wall, and there's no pretending anymore. After weeks of visible frustration, awkward body language, and public comments questioning effort and chemistry, the two-time MVP looks closer than ever to a major exit. What once felt unthinkable is now being openly discussed around the league. Giannis Antetokounmpo to New York, alongside Jalen Brunson, is no longer fantasy talk. It's quickly turning into one of the NBA's biggest what-ifs becoming reality in real time. The collapse didn't happen overnight. The 2025-26 season has been a slow-motion unraveling for the Milwaukee Bucks, and everyone can see it. Sitting at 18-25, the team has fallen into the lower half of the Eastern Conference, a brutal reality for a franchise built around a generational superstar. Since January 1st, the Bucks have gone 4-5, unable to build rhythm, unable to scare anyone, and unable to stop the bleeding as the trade deadline creeps closer. Blowout losses have piled up. Effort has looked inconsistent. Home court no longer feels like an advantage. The identity that once defined Milwaukee, relentless defense, collective hustle, and championship-level focus, has cracked. What remains is a team hovering around 400s, miles away from preseason expectations and far removed from serious playoff conversations. The aura is gone, and everyone knows it. Availability has now become a massive part of the story. Giannis's latest setback, a right calf strain from a non-contact incident, has no clear return date. Initial estimates pointed to 4 to 6 weeks following MRI results, but the Bucks, led by Doc Rivers and the medical staff, are playing it extremely cautious. No dates, no promises, just silence and uncertainty. That caution isn't random. Giannis missed 8 games earlier in the season with a similar right calf issue, and previous calf problems lingered into last year's postseason. These repeated soft tissue concerns are raising real questions, especially for a player whose dominance is built on speed, power, and constant pressure at the rim. This isn't panic, but it's not nothing either. Without Giannis, Milwaukee falls apart fast. The offensive rating drops to a brutal 106.0, one of the worst marks in the league. The supporting cast can't create advantages, can't control tempo, and can't maintain defensive intensity. The record reflects it. When Giannis sits, the Bucks don't just struggle, they look lost. And the frustration isn't staying behind closed doors anymore. After a loss that dropped the team to 18-25, Giannis didn't sugarcoat it. He said, "Our chemistry is not there. Guys are being selfish, trying to look for their own shots instead of looking for the right shot for the team." Those words landed heavy. Public criticism from a franchise player always does. That moment changed the tone. Poor performance, lingering injuries, and vocal dissatisfaction have created perfect conditions for speculation to explode. The February 5th, 2026 trade deadline is looming, and while Giannis has publicly said he would never force his way out, league insiders say the patience is wearing thin. The Bucks, once the model of stability, are now listening to aggressive offers involving former All-Stars, young prospects, and draft capital. This didn't come out of nowhere. 3 straight first-round playoff exits set the stage for this season's collapse. Each loss chipped away at belief. Each roster move meant to extend the title window only shrank it further. December and January exposed the team's limits, with losses stacking up against both elite squads and average competition. There's nowhere left to hide. The front office, once praised for building a championship roster, is now under fire. Moves made by GM John Horst are being labeled reactive instead of strategic. Trades, signings, and roster construction have drained flexibility and future assets. What we're seeing now isn't bad luck, it's the end result of years of risky bets coming due. Injuries, public frustration, and questionable decisions have collided. While Giannis hasn't directly called out executives, league sources describe growing tension tied to roster construction. The biggest flashpoint came in July 2025, when Milwaukee waived and stretched Damian Lillard to clear space for a 4-year, $107 million deal for Miles Turner. That move shook the league. The Lillard experiment, which began with a blockbuster trade in 2023, was supposed to unlock everything. Instead, it unraveled fast. One league executive called the waiver an admission the Lillard trade was a complete disaster. Giannis was informed ahead of time, but insiders say he wasn't thrilled. To him, it looked like instability, not vision. Lillard's exit also highlighted another mistake. Trading away Drew Holiday, a key piece of the 2021 title run, removed a proven two-way force and replaced him with an aging guard whose defensive issues were exposed when it mattered most. The pairing never fully clicked and the team paid the price. The Bucks now face harsh reality. Draft assets are nearly gone. Cap flexibility is tight. The bench offers little relief. Beyond Giannis and Turner, there are no real difference makers. Championship teams survive injuries because they have depth and multiple creators. Milwaukee doesn't. When Giannis sits, the whole system collapses. With Supermax eligibility approaching in October 2026, urgency is unavoidable. The franchise must decide whether to double down with limited tools or pivot entirely. Around the league, the belief is clear. Either a massive overhaul is coming or Giannis Antetokounmpo's time in Milwaukee is nearing its end. And that's why the trade market is heating up fast. At 31, with some durability concerns, Giannis isn't in his absolute physical peak anymore, but he remains one of the most dominant forces in basketball when healthy. Teams see multiple years of elite impact left. 2 MVPs, a championship, a player who instantly raises a franchise's ceiling. That's why the price will be enormous. Milwaukee wants young talent, picks, and flexibility, and multiple contenders are circling. Miami is being mentioned loudly, but the New York Knicks are watching closely too. Pairing Giannis with Jalen Brunson would change the Eastern Conference overnight, and front offices know it. This situation is no longer theoretical. The Bucks' slide, the roster constraints, and Giannis's growing frustration have turned whispers into serious conversations. One way or another, the clock is ticking and the league is bracing for a seismic shift. Miami's appeal goes far beyond raw trade assets. This is an organization that stays competitive no matter the circumstances, even without premium draft picks. The Heat have built winning teams through development, discipline, and calculated trades, not shortcuts. Their culture prioritizes conditioning, accountability, and mental toughness, traits that align naturally with Giannis's mindset and could help extend the most demanding years of his career without burning him out. That structure matters more now than ever, as Giannis moves into the later stages of his prime. Reducing wear while maximizing impact becomes critical. Miami's system is designed exactly for that. Roles are defined, minutes are managed, pressure moments are expected, not avoided. It's an environment that protects stars while demanding excellence, which is why league insiders keep circling back to them. New York, however, remains the destination Giannis is most intrigued by. The Knicks are expected to make aggressive calls, even though their asset pool is tighter. They hold only a protected 2026 first-round pick, but veteran talent gives them leverage. Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, and Mikal Bridges headline any serious conversation. Pairing Giannis with Jalen Brunson would instantly create one of the league's most electric duos and deliver unmatched big-market pressure. The challenge for New York is balance. Apron restrictions and limited draft capital make it difficult to meet Milwaukee's asking price without gutting the rotation. Towns brings elite spacing and rebounding, but moving him raises front-court depth concerns. Anunoby and Bridges are elite two-way wings, valuable in any playoff series. Packaging multiple starters risks thinning the roster to a point where short-term contention suffers. That's the tightrope the Knicks must walk. Add a superstar without destroying the supporting cast. Still, the appeal remains strong. Madison Square Garden, Brunson's leadership, and recent organizational stability under Tom Thibodeau matter. Giannis's reported preference for New York quietly strengthens their negotiating position, increasing pressure on Milwaukee to consider a slightly lighter return if honoring his wishes becomes a factor. Golden State also lingers in the background. They can offer pick-heavy packages with multiple first-rounders and swaps, plus young talent like Jonathan Kuminga. Their motivation is obvious: Stephen Curry's timeline is shrinking, and urgency is driving exploration. Adding Giannis would reshape the offense entirely, using Curry's gravity to open massive driving lanes. Defensively, Giannis would immediately address Golden State's interior weaknesses. Still, spacing and ball dominance concerns remain. Kuminga offers upside but lacks proven playoff production. From Milwaukee's perspective, Golden State's package carries risk, making it less appealing than offers anchored by established contributors. Other teams have been mentioned, including San Antonio, Houston, and Detroit. The Spurs could form a generational frontcourt. Houston has youth and athleticism. Detroit has picks. But timeline mismatches and Giannis's desire to contend immediately push these options down the list. They're interesting, but unlikely. For now, Miami consistently emerges as the frontrunner. League executives describe them as the most realistic suitor capable of meeting Milwaukee's demands without triggering a full teardown. Cap flexibility, young contributors, future picks, and organizational credibility all align cleanly. It's the safest reset path for the Bucks. If Giannis does land in New York, the impact would be instant and massive. The Knicks currently sit at 28-18, third in the East with a strong offensive identity and recent tournament success. They're already dangerous, but not dominant. Giannis would push them into elite territory. Offensively, the pairing with Brunson would be lethal. Giannis's efficiency, finishing, and gravity would supercharge an attack already ranked near the top of the league. Brunson's scoring and playmaking pull defenders inward, opening lanes for Giannis and kickouts to shooters like Bridges and Anunoby. The spacing becomes unfair. The pick-and-roll action alone would be a nightmare. Brunson's pace control and shot creation force defenders to hesitate. Giannis punishes any lapse with explosive finishes. When defenses overcommit, Brunson's mid-range game and floaters open up. When they stay home, Giannis eats at the rim. There's no clean answer. Beyond the stars, the ripple effect is huge. Wings get cleaner looks. Josh Hart's energy creates extra possessions. Transition offense becomes deadly. Giannis pushing the ball after rebounds pairs perfectly with New York's tempo, creating easy points before defenses can organize. Defensively, the upgrade is just as dramatic. Giannis brings elite rim protection, versatility, and rebounding. New York's current defensive ranking sits in the middle of the pack. His presence alone would reshape coverage, allowing perimeter defenders to apply more pressure, knowing help is behind them. Giannis can switch, drop, recover, and erase mistakes. That flexibility unlocks aggressive schemes. With Anunoby and Bridges on the wings, New York would suddenly feature one of the most intimidating defensive cores in the league. Shot deterrence, length, and physicality would become identity again. Mitchell Robinson adds depth and flexibility, allowing multiple lineup combinations. Whether playing together or staggering minutes, the interior remains protected. The rebounding edge alone would swing games. Against elite opponents, the physical advantage would be undeniable. In short, this isn't just about star power. It's about fit, timing, and pressure. And as the deadline approaches, the league is watching closely. Front offices around the league are actively preparing frameworks and holding internal discussions around potential Giannis trade scenarios. Milwaukee is listening. They're taking calls, gauging value, and mapping contingencies. But without Giannis formally requesting a move, the Bucks retain leverage. They're under no obligation to rush, cave to pressure, or accept anything less than maximum value. The February 5th trade deadline represents a critical checkpoint, not necessarily a final decision. If no deal materializes, the speculation simply shifts into the offseason. Summer 2026 opens the door for far more flexibility. More teams can participate, cap structures loosen, multi-team trades become realistic. Sign and trade mechanisms enter the conversation, and Milwaukee gains time to reassess its long-term direction. That timeline matters because Giannis becomes eligible for another Supermax extension starting October 2026. This creates urgency on both sides. If Giannis hesitates or declines to commit, his trade value peaks in the months leading up to that decision point, when acquiring teams can still believe in long-term retention. If he signs, the conversation likely ends immediately. Milwaukee's internal question is simple but heavy. Can this roster realistically evolve into a championship-level group fast enough to match Giannis's ambitions? Front office changes, coaching adjustments, and roster overhauls are all options this offseason. The organization must decide whether it can convincingly signal a renewed path toward contention. For Giannis, the choice cuts deeper than basketball. Staying preserves his legacy, his identity as a loyal franchise cornerstone, and the relationships he's built in Milwaukee. Leaving increases the odds of more championships, but risks altering the image he's carefully maintained throughout his career. Loyalty versus opportunity is the tension at the center of this moment. From New York's perspective, the situation is equally complicated. The Knicks sit at 28-18, already competing at a high level. Gutting a functional core for a player who may not even be available carries real risk. Any Giannis deal would require surrendering major pieces, Towns, Bridges, Anunoby, draft capital. That fundamentally reshapes the roster. Losing multiple rotation players would create gaps that even Giannis's brilliance might not instantly erase. Chemistry built over multiple seasons would reset overnight. Tom Thibodeau's system relies heavily on defensive discipline, communication, and familiarity. A mid-season blockbuster would demand rapid adaptation, new schemes, and accelerated learning curves. That adjustment period matters. Wins lost during integration could cost seeding or momentum entering the postseason. The very championship aspirations that justify the trade could be compromised in the short term. An off-season acquisition would ease some of these challenges, offering training camp and preseason to build cohesion. But the talent sacrifice remains substantial. New York must decide whether star power justifies depth loss. Other contenders face similar calculations. Miami's organizational appeal and asset mix make them a consistent presence in discussions. But even they would have to sacrifice meaningful future pieces. Minnesota's theoretical fit is intriguing, yet cap and asset constraints complicate execution. Milwaukee's willingness to listen should be viewed as pragmatism, not surrender. Teams routinely test the market for their stars when futures are uncertain. Listening provides clarity. It does not equal intent. The Bucks' preference remains keeping Giannis and finding a way forward with him as the centerpiece. His value extends beyond production. He anchors the franchise's identity, market presence, and credibility. Trading him would signal a full reset, something ownership and management would rather avoid unless forced. For Knicks fans and league observers, this moment sits between hope and restraint. The hypothetical fit with Brunson is real. The championship upside is undeniable. But the obstacles, cap rules, asset costs, timing, and organizational caution are just as real. The coming months will decide whether this stays theoretical or becomes seismic. Until then, the situation captures the NBA's constant tension: loyalty versus ambition, stability versus risk, what could happen versus what actually will.